place, and he's having a little bit more work done on the inside, and he's putting a heater in it, although the air conditioning unit's in it, and he wants $2,300 a month, and this is just a good idea of comparison to what I have opportunities to get. The good thing is it's hella secure. It used to be a pawn shop. It has bathrooms on it, and it has a section that you don't see as a back room that goes to that wall right there, and then that wall over is another shop. But $2,300 a month is a bit out of my price range right now, especially for what I'm looking for and the prices I'm being offered. Hey yo, it's your boy Calico. Today on whatever the hell I'm calling this video, I mean, it is the Mining America channel, and yet I only want to use the "can you dig it" opening. For some reason, I only want to use that when I'm actually doing something that's directly related to mining and minerals and information about minerals. Although I guess this video does sort of fit that bill, so maybe I will put that in right now. I mean, I like it. It's me scratching and stuff, so it's sort of good, sort of cool. But today, what we're going to be talking about is calcite and vinegar. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me that I can go ahead and use vinegar to dissolve my calcite and to make my specimens nice and shiny and to remove unwanted layers and sections and stuff like that. And I've never actually done it. So here we're going to run a test. How long does it take for vinegar to affect the calcite in this calcite seashell I have here, this calcite clamshell? And I'm going to put this in this and at least overnight, see what happens. And then if that doesn't do it good enough, then maybe a day or maybe two. Now, if I put this in the hydrochloric acid that I normally use, it only takes a couple of minutes for it to give it a nice polish, and it might take a couple more minutes for it to start to dissolve the outside of the shell and leave more of the crystals exposed. I'm wondering, will the vinegar dissolve the shell, or will it only dissolve the crystal? I don't know. I know that if I were to leave this in the hydrochloric acid overnight, when I came back, there would be nothing. There would be no rock, there would be no crystal, there would be no shell, there would be nothing. Yet, let's see how it does when we put it in distilled white vinegar and how long it takes to maybe turn it into something a little bit more pretty. But before we do that, I'm going to give you a close-up of this. Before I get to the close-up shot of this calcite crystal seashell I have right here, I did want to tell you that this Saturday and this Sunday, I plan on putting up stuff for sale. There is going to be sale stuff, mainly fire agate. I'm going to have some windows, some fire agate rough. I need to bring some money in, which means I need to sell some stuff to you. And to prove my point to some of my other family members that I can make money off of gemstones and rocks, since nobody has responded to any of the applications I've put in. In reality, I would much rather be doing this stuff than working at a place that, you know, I'm probably not going to be making that great of a wage. I mean, I want to work for at least a $12, $13 minimum an hour because I work really good. I am one of those people that likes to move fast. I used to be a younger kid that hated working, and now I'm an older person that likes the quality of my work to be good. I am definitely one of those people that pays attention to details now, much more than I did when I was younger. Although research is still pretty hard for me to do for some reason. It's easier with Google than it was when I was younger, yet it can still be difficult for me to find certain things. And I have found that the reason that I feel like that about myself in research is because a lot of times I won't know the proper terminology to find what I'm looking for. And that's just a general pet peeve with me of mine. But I digress into things that don't matter, because this Saturday, this Sunday, I will have videos up of stuff that you guys can buy, and I'll probably have it put in my Etsy store so you can purchase it there. So now let's get to a close-up of this piece of a calcite crystal seashell, and it's got a really nice calcite formation on the side of it. A nice little $5 specimen. If I were to have it in a shop or something, I'd definitely charge $5 for that. It's about 2 million years old. Nothing wrong with charging $5 for something like this. Know what I'm saying? It's got some nice shaping and crystal formation on the side. And then it even has the calcite poking out the top of the seashell itself. Now, like I said earlier, whoops, with hydrochloric acid, all of this stuff would be eaten away. It would definitely affect all of this stuff. Yet I'm not sure, is it going to affect the concretion? Is it going to affect the outside of the shell, which is mainly made of calcium, which is the main reason that the calcite crystals end up forming around where all these seashells were decaying. But let's move on to putting this in a bucket. All right, I've got my bucket right here. And the camera moves if I bounce too hard next to it, so I should probably stop bouncing next to it. And I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the bottom of the bucket. I'll move this way a little bit. There, we can see that good now. And I'm going to bust this. Now this 1.5 gallons of vinegar, it's definitely more than a gallon. No, it's not. It's 1 gallon. This 1 gallon of vinegar only costs $2.30 at the store, at the Walmart store. The Wally place I hate. I can't stand that store yet. I've been shopping at it all the time because of where I'm living at the moment. That's my excuse. It's a good one, though. The smell of vinegar. And I probably could have waited to put the calcite shell in after I put the vinegar in, but I didn't want to dip my hands in the vinegar, and my gloves are downstairs. We had a little bit of fizz and fizzle, and we do have more fizz and fizzle, actually. Surprising to me, we have a fair amount of fizz and fizzle happening. Well, there's definitely a chemical reaction happening right there. But I see most of the chemical reaction that's happening is happening from the concretion. It is not necessarily happening from the seashell itself. But it's definitely happening inside of the concretion. I can see bubbles going and all sorts of stuff like that. Now, while doing this video, I did a little bit of research and I found a really great article on cleaning specimens and stones with chemicals, and I'll get to reading some of that. While doing a little bit of research for this video, I found a fantastic article on mindat.org. It's written by Barry Flannery, and it is Guidelines on Using Chemicals to Clean Minerals by Barry Flannery. And the first thing on his list happens to be acetic acid, ethanoic acid, vinegar, glacial acetic acid. I'm sure all of these are different types of vinegar, but I'm just guessing because I am by no means a chemist. I'm not even close to a geologist or a chemist by any stretch of the imagination. So reading some information from somebody that has a lot of good information is right up my alley. Now, Barry says acetic acid is a simple carboxylic acid. It is a weak organic acid, better known as the chemical which gives vinegar its distinctive odor. Its weak acidity makes it a useful chemical for dissolving calcite from sensitive minerals such as galena and fluorite, where the much stronger hydrochloric acid may cause dulling and damage to the luster. It is very slow to act, and specimens will usually require several days of treatment to produce an acceptable result. Dilute to 10% acetic acid is preferred for particularly sensitive minerals, or by beginners due to its safety and availability. If obtainable, orthophosphoric acid is far superior in terms of speed, and is similar to acetic acid with regard to its effect on sensitive minerals. It is not, however, as widespread and easy to obtain. Acetic acid will dissolve calcite by the following reaction, producing the soluble salt calcium acetate, water, and carbon dioxide. The fizzing is the carbon dioxide. In an ideal system, 2 moles of acetic acid will dissolve 1 mole of calcite. In layman's terms, given enough time, 1 liter of 5% solution will be able to dissolve 40 grams of calcite. In physical terms, 40 grams is roughly equivalent to a 2.5 centimeter, 1-inch cube of calcite. Next in this article, he goes over directions for use. Acetic acid is commonly found as some form of household vinegar, which will usually have a concentration of 3 to 7% acetic acid. Ordinary vinegar for food can be used for dissolving calcite straight out of the bottle. However, the price, added sugars to improve taste, and slow reaction rate may make it less than ideal for dissolving large amounts of calcite. It should be noted that increasing the temperature greatly increases the rate of reaction. However, it also causes the acid to fume, and a pungent smell of vinegar will soon fill the room. So good ventilation is essential. Higher concentrations of acetic acid do result in faster reaction times. However, the dangerous nature of the concentrated acid offsets these gains, and so it should not be used. At low concentrations, 5% or less, acetic acid is relatively harmless and used as the food additive vinegar. However, as the concentration increases, acetic acid becomes far more dangerous and has a powerful pungent odor. At high concentrations, 25% or more, acetic acid is corrosive and should be handled with the same care and safety precautions as stronger, more dangerous chemicals, such as concentrated hydrochloric acid. At high concentrations, it should be used in a very well-ventilated area, ideally outside or in a fume hood, as the vapors are corrosive, extremely pungent, and harmful if inhaled. Wear gloves and goggles if handling it at all. In on the vinegar with the calcite sitting in it, it's been about 17 hours since I put it in there. I put it in at 5:30 last night. It's 10:30 a.m. right now, so that's about 17 hours. And the shell itself has not really been affected very much. Now the crystals are wet, and they seem pretty glossy right now, but they're wet. Now the concretion itself on these, it is all brittle and completely falling apart. So it really affected the concretion way more than it affected the calcite crystal seashell itself. Let's leave it in there till 24 hours and we'll check on it again. All right, it's 24 hours since I put this inside of the white vinegar, and the concretion is definitely more affected than the calcite crystal seashell itself. I mean, the concretion is just breaking apart in my hands, and you can see how brown the vinegar is. Yet I'm sure the calcite is at least polished a little bit, but the shell on the seashell looks to barely be affected at all, like barely affected at all. Concretion affected majorly, crystals affected a little bit, and shell, I don't think it's affected barely at all. So let's see what happens after another 24 hours. All right, we are at 48 hours that this seashell has been sitting inside of the vinegar. And once again, the crystals look like they have been dissolved a little bit, but the shell itself, the calcite, I shouldn't say the calcite, the shell itself of the clam does not look like it's had much of any of an effect. But once again, the concretion has been majorly affected. So I'm going to leave it until the morning, and then we'll check it out again then. Well, it's been 4 days. 4 days this has been sitting in the vinegar. And the shell itself looks completely untouched. The crystals on top almost look the same. It's wet right now. I need to rinse it, and after I rinse it, look how easily the concretion breaks up. Concretion has been seriously affected. So let's go rinse it, and then after I rinse it, I'll let it dry out and we'll look at it again. All right. Now it's been rinsed. doesn't smell like vinegar anymore. I'm gonna take it up to the office and set it down in front of my little fan. Let it dry awfully fast. So I'm gonna leave this here for a little while and let it dry, and we'll see how shiny it looks after it dries. All right, after sitting in a vinegar bath for 84 hours, we can really check out this calcite crystal seashell now and see how it affected it. And it does seem that it affected the shell a little bit. It's not totally dry. It still has a little bit of moisture in it here and there that I can see, especially I can see that on the concretion. But I don't have time to wait to be able to put this video up anytime soon. I want to get this video up tonight, edited and edited and uploaded. So one of the things I noticed is that there was an area in the calcite crystal teeth. I shouldn't really call them teeth, I should call them terminations. In the calcite crystal terminations, it had a rainbow, and that rainbow is definitely gone. I don't see it anymore at all. Oh, maybe a little bit. Oh, right there, right above my thumb, just a hair of it. There's a little bit of that green that was in that rainbow. So the rainbow that was in the terminations is definitely not there anymore. It does look like it affected the calcite a little bit. It affected the shell of the calcite fossil even less than it affected the calcite. Now, this area, it definitely doesn't look smoother. It looks more pockmarked than it did before. It looks like it ate certain areas unevenly to where they're almost bumpy, and it didn't seem to be bumpy previously to me. Now it definitely seems to be a little bit bumpy. It 100% affected the concretion more than it affected anything else. And I have had people in videos talk about how I could use vinegar to take off layers of the calcite and affect the mineral itself, and I'm not going to argue that. I will say that if I was trying to clean these shells up the way I had previously to get a little bit of polish on them, that this would not be my preferred method. One, it takes way too long, and then number two, it affects the concretion so much that I would do this to affect the concretion and not affect the shell very much, because it can definitely remove some matrix and not remove the calcite or the shell itself. Whereas if I put this in hydrochloric acid, whichever one it is, if I were to put this in that acid, it definitely takes the shell away. Like the shell, it moves faster than the calcite crystals themselves. Oh, there's a little crystal coming apart in my hands. Little piece of calcite right there, honey-colored calcite. So this is definitely not a method I will probably ever use again. It takes too long, but like somebody else on my YouTube channel said, it's not pollutive. It definitely doesn't leave a doesn't leave a vat of acid that I need to neutralize and then get rid of in some way. So it's definitely less polluting than using hydrofluoric acid. Yet at the same time, I am not a firm believer in this method right here, at least not with the calcite crystal seashells. Now with just regular calcite, this might be a good method. But with the calcite crystal seashells, I am definitely not a believer in using the vinegar method. Nope, nope, nope. Not a believer in the vinegar method. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, like, share, subscribe, and all that jazz. I'm supposed to say it in every video, even though I do not say it in every video. But other people say that when you ask your viewers to like, share, and subscribe, and all that jazz, that it definitely gets them to do more. And you know what? Leave a comment, because comments help immensely. Even if I respond negatively to one of your negative comments, I'd rather have you tell me what you think in the comments section than just not say anything at all. And even when I respond negatively to you, I still love you for watching. You know what I really need to do? I really need to learn how to not respond to negative comments. Yet because of the life I've lived, I just can't help myself, and I gotta stick my foot in my mouth as much as I possibly can, or the keyboard as the case may be, because I definitely type stuff instead of saying stuff. But it doesn't seem to have matter. I still definitely, you know, it comes right off the cuff, exactly how I think it, and that's what you guys get. So I'm planning on having a video up of some stuff for you guys to buy tomorrow, hopefully. I'm not going to be able to get any of that ready tonight, I don't believe. And I need to do a trip tomorrow to get a whole bunch of stuff, so we'll see how that goes. Also, I wasn't able to make it to the Gem and Mineral Society this week in order to window some of the fire agate I have. And I really wanted to have windows for sale instead of just rough. So we'll see what tomorrow's video brings us. But I definitely plan on having a video for you of some kind. I love you for watching, and I'll see you soon.